Abraham thoroughly under the bus. And
No.
You're live.
How
I
does
told
that
you
work?
so.
Everybody's still
doesn't
hanging
work
out,
for
or they
you,
have to
boy.
rejoin?
they're going to have to rejoin now.
They'll find us. They know we're good for it.
Who are we going to blame? Who are we going to blame?
Who's that?
Abraham.
It rhymes with
We have a major
Abraham.
We have
seismic event.
David.
That's good loyalty, Susie. I want to give you 5 points for that.
Are they brownie points?
No, they're just general purpose points.
Judge your
Ooh,
points.
those, Susie, those have an unlimited, infinite possibilities as it relates to cashing them in.
Well, you can use them to get discounts at Subway.
Oh.
Participating location only. Okay. So Eric T.I. cannot help you build further other than determining the possibility of something. Well, what about conditional logic and stuff? You know how those forms you fill out on the internet? And if you click one thing, then it'll ask you a follow-up question. If you click the other thing, it'll ask you something else. That's T.I. That's T.I. there. I'll tell you what else is T.I. Me saying, you're wrong! That's what you think
No,
T.I.
that's
is.
FI.
That's what you think T.I. is.
FI.
No, okay, no.
You're wrong with no argument. That's FI.
No, it could be. It could just be my FE really being dramatic.
Eric, you can't place the camera like.
Abraham, what do I look like? Some sort of cameraman? No, I can't.
What are the best
it's a
sources
fairly-
for MBTI socionic related information besides this channel, of course?
There is
Becky.
some.
Ego stroke.
Becky,
Wink, wink.
Susie.
Next time.
Becky and Susie, they're pretty good. Taylor's a little more hit and miss.
Yeah, he's got
Fuck you, Taylor.
it's not a fuck you to Taylor. It's an accurate assessment of it. You know, I think I haven't really seen Susie. I only saw Susie in action recently. She was helping me with his ISFP, and I was very, very impressed with her ability to interface. It's like whether it was TE or FE or both or whatever, she really interfaced with the ISFP successfully in ways that got her to relax and open up, which then she felt betrayed by when it revealed what we were saying the whole time. And at that point, Susie's like, okay, fuck this pile of FI stinking fish. Because not all of it was stinking fish, but in that instance it was. Go ahead, Becky.
I go to Susie whenever there's bias in my typing. So Susie is definitely a good person to go to.
Conk says he just came in for Ketchup to yell at him.
Who is Con?
You have to pay for that.
Yeah.
That costs
That's
money.
not for free.
Yeah.
Isn't it second?
Does
What do
this
I look like?
free merchandise?
Uh-oh, watch out. You're giving
You
it out
gotta
for
start with
free.
some super chat for that stuff.
She can't help it. She's giving it out for free right now, Conk. I know.
That's almost second.
That's what happens when you got the Niagara Falls hat.
It's off.
Now she's back to her normal self. She doesn't have the temptation of endless power flowing through her veins. Okay. Who is coming?
Me, right now.
In addition to the people already here, we've got Spacey coming tomorrow. Shane coming Sunday. Jojo. Ooh.
See?
Well, thank you, Conk.
It's not that kind of chat.
Beck-
Oh my god.
Becky, thanks you for your kind donation to me. Having an existential crisis,
You want to
an
smack
important
him?
part of the intellectual journey. That is a good question.
I hurt my chest.
That is a good question. Is having existential crises an important part of the intellectual journey?
The long answer is yes, and the short answer is no.
Oh my god,
Good
thank
for a
you.
while.
What counts as an existential crisis as opposed to like existential terror, for example? What kind of existential crises versus existential terror?
Existential crisis versus existential terror?
Yeah.
Well, terror would lead to suicidal ideation, and crisis would lead to lots of fun with breaking rules from authority.
Wait, so what's the bad one?
The bad one is the crisis.
Okay.
So terror is what?
Terror and crisis are pretty parallel. Well, see, I've experienced existential terror on plenty of occasions. I experienced that And I don't really put in. A lot of time had passed when I wasn't paying attention to it, and it changed a lot. And I feel this gasping terror of time slipping away. But it just passes in, a little short period of time. It's not a crisis. It's just, it's a moment of just feeling the scope of significance in the world, right? That you're gonna die, so you better make something out of your time, I guess. Either, and you got to figure out what you want out of it. How much comfort do you want? How much achievement do you want? How much like socializing do you want? How much privacy time, tender jiggling time
Chicken
do you
wings.
want? Those things are questions that have to be asked and answered on some level. I'm sure for ISFPs, they don't ask and answer them with words, though, right? I wouldn't imagine. Or maybe that's not the best example. Maybe, yeah, probably ISFPs or ESFPs, I guess. Killing yourself represents the will for non-existence. Killing yourself is a bad thing. I agree. Camus asked, why don't we kill ourselves? Well, who's this we?
Do you have the Kool-Aid?
If Camus so curious about that, I would say you first, Camus.
Let's play writing lessons. You teach me.
I mean, why don't I kill myself? I've got absolutely, it's saying, why not prematurely end the movie when you're into it? That's a stupid question because you're into it, right? It's
Can
fun.
you answer Danielle Hall's text?
You guys suck. Answer me. I'm sorry, Danielle. Did you say something? What did you say? I don't see you anywhere. Do you see any other Danielle Hall?
No.
I think Danielle Hall's just fucking with us.
Maybe you should repeat.
Maybe I should put top chat and then live chat and see if it help me decide to have you type me. I mean,
There's like 5,000 videos for that.
you want me to sell you on it? The thing is,
Erica's a big fan.
I actually do believe fully in the product. So I can tell you, I think there may be one person who, at least maybe even two, who regretted doing it. But I would say I've only had one dissatisfied customer, and that was the person I didn't ever end up typing because they were satisfied because of what Danielle Hall said. Because, they emailed me, I didn't respond, and yada, yada. So that was why. But everybody that I've typed other than that, I think has felt like almost all of them say that they kind of gush about it. They say it's a great experience and stuff, and it's gratifying to hear. I try to make sure that I afforded the matter as much attention as it needs for me to resolve it. Sometimes that happens faster than an hour, and then I start regretting. I've been meaning to put it down to 60 minutes anyway.
Once it took 3 hours.
Yeah, but I don't mind when it goes long. I mind when it goes short and I have to keep it around. And especially it's with INFPs. INFPs aren't that chatty. ISFPs too. They want me to sort of and then they're just going to deliberate. They're very deliberative, but they assume whatever they hear, they're going to take away and draw their conclusions in private. What they think about it, I don't need to know that. Eric doesn't need to know that. So I never really am sure if I'm pleasing them or not because they don't know yet because they need to take it away and deliberate upon it. But me being aware of that fact doesn't change the reality that I feel in this constant sort of state of FE scramble trying to get some sort of FE footing, which they're not giving me because they're so deliberative in their FI dollars. No, sir? That's why it's called life? What's called life? Life?
It's hard enough.
This is going fast. I need to catch up. To live is to not create your own meaning. Supernova says to live is to create your own meaning. To live is to not create your own meaning. I would say to live is to persist in a state of non-death. I can with words on paper. You can what with words on paper? You can peaches with words on paper? I think you just have to try to create a life for yourself that justifies all suffering and bad shit you've experienced. Overcoming struggle is what gives my life meaning. Overcoming struggle.
I'm patting her.
Does it have to be overcoming struggle, or could it just be like attaining difficult things? Is that necessarily overcoming struggle to attain something difficult, to persist and thereby attain something difficult? So I guess I've bored everybody else out of the room. So I guess for dominating the live chat, which is understandably going to be the case because, I liked your question, Conk. It's a good one. I want to get a better sense of it, really, to be honest, and think about what comprises existential crisis. I don't know. How much moist can a TI user endure? Quite a bit if they're forced to, but it's not very comfortable. Okay, let me pause for a second. Let me pull a bowl and regroup my state of being. I'm going to regroup my state of being. Oh, right, the topic. What if your mind is lacking sides 1 through 3? No one's mind is lacking that many sides. Look, everybody knows the mind has 4 sides. However, some people, because they haven't taken all the right symposiums yet, are stuck at a 3-sided mind. Now, what's the problem with being a 3-sided mind? Well, it makes it very easy to topple over. Right? If you have 4, think about a table. It has 4 legs. Now think about a table that has 3 legs. What happens to it? It falls over. Do TI-DOM tool users have constant internal monologues? I thought it was an IHP, but my mind is usually pretty clear, and I just know things before the words come over to mind. Is that NI? Sounds more like NI. Do TI-NE users have constant internal monologues? Yes. Except they're more like speeches in a way. My internal talking is always, I'm always imagining talking to an audience or something, or another person, or I'm always imagining myself telling somebody something. I never really monologue myself. But I also would say, when I talk to myself, I'll often say, we or us. Let's go over here. Or, oh, we should go do that. Who are the we? It's just me. But I think of myself as being like a few different people, kind of. You got any sense of yourself as other than singular? Do you? No? It's fine if you don't want to answer. It's fine. If you really are INFP ready, you're probably better at it than you think. Better at what? FJ types can deal with a lot of moistness both in themselves and others, despite being TI users. FJ types. Well, I mean, I'll tell you, SFJ, Kimberly, she projects a lot of moisture in the sense, in the word that she's demonstrative FI, but she does not value it. And I've learned this time and time again when I try to tell her, sweet things like, I love you, Kimberly, my precious perfect angel, or whatever, and try to hug her or something. She won't be like, oh, I love you too. She'll be like, I mean, it's just how she is. She just doesn't value FI. The thing is, I need a little bit better FE from her sometimes. I don't need her to actually care about my fake ass FI. I need her to fake caring about it. It's like, that's how it's supposed to work, right? That shows you're willing, and that's all I really need. You're willing and on the same team and working in the same direction. It doesn't really matter where we're going to me, because my FI is polar. Her FI is countervalued. It doesn't really matter to her very much where we're going either. She uses it in a way, in an interactive way with other people. Thanks, Conk. You are a captain of industry and a owner of a monopoly on some sort of precious metal, I am sure. That's why you have the specialness sticker, and I'm putting it right on the tip of your nose where my zit is on my nose. TI users probably don't like you if because you're absolutely wrong and hell arrogant about it. Who? Mad Biscuit? Me? Oh, Mad Biscuit. That's why IHPs don't really like me. Well, they are connected to FTI and FIWeb because it is their beam. TI users, when you prove them wrong, it's like the end of their world. It's because you're attacking their beam. It's not that way for me at all. I have no problem losing TI arguments. I feel kind of dumb about it. Like, oh, I should have done. I should have figured that one out. But it's fine. It's purely instrumental to me. It's not an absolute value. In the first slot, it's a kind of absolute value. It's an implicit value. So it would make more sense there. In the third slot, it's an absolute value. So it would make more sense there. But it doesn't really make sense for ENTPs. TI users probably don't like you because you're absolutely wrong and how arrogant about it. I mean, that wouldn't, yeah, well, see, that would probably make a TI tool user upset. Just being persistently wrong. The arrogance doesn't bother me. He is arrogant for sure, but that doesn't bother me. But he's sometimes right, sometimes wrong. I appreciate his care he takes. He's not willy-nilly throwing slop about. He put some effort into his contradictory perspectives on things, which I appreciate. For e.g., ENTPs could supervise INFPs because ENTPs don't give a shit about FI, so they could delegitimize FI concerns of an INFP ASAP until it withstands TI muster, which forces an INFP to tap into. It doesn't work that way. We don't give a shit about FI, but we give a shit about FE so much that we cannot escape the fact that you're reserving judgment on two levels, only one of which we can impact you at all. So that's the thing about it, right? It's like we can tell you're deliberating on TI, which we can win, and on FI, which we don't even know what the fuck you're doing over there. And you will not tell us or reveal to us what it is you actually think, feel, or whatever until after you've done your deliberation. But our FE is not that deft, doesn't work that easily across time. So it's like we don't get the fact that you're going to come back later and have deliberated it because we've done all the deliberation we know how to do. We've already figured out the TI part. Well, you figured out the TI part too, probably, but you still got to go spend time with your moisture, determine whether it's got a certain pH balance, whether it has a wetness degree of 4 or 5, whether it's puddled or pooled. That depends on how much of it there is, whether it's condensate or just, dew. Eric, show us your shoes, buddy. All right. I'm wearing, what's that famous shoe designer? Jimmy Choo. I'm wearing Jimmy Choo's today. Jimmy Choo's flip-flop shoes. That's what I'm wearing today. Eric, guess what? Eric, show us your shoes, buddy. Well, what do you want my attention for, MLG? What are we trying to get my attention for besides showing me your shoes, showing you my shoes? Okay, let's see. Entitled types. That's what I mean by entitlement. Like, NHP is pretty entitled because we're well equipped for, rolling with shit as the world presented to us and coming off pretty successful in our exchanges with other people in that sense. Well, I'm arrogant too. it goes with the territory. When you want to make claims for the purpose of finding points of clash to resolve, there's certain arrogance implicit in that, and there's nothing wrong with it. Maybe I'm using the word arrogance too broadly. Oh, who is the supervisor type to INFJ? The supervisor of the INFJ must be the type that has your dominant as their tool and your polar as their dominant. Your polar would be SI. No, your polar would be TE. So that would be their dominant, and your dominant would be their tool. So it would be TENI. That's ENTJ. ENTJ is your supervisor. You're supervised by ENTJs. Would TI polar types be more susceptible to being gaslighted more than other types? I would have said absolutely not. It's impossible to gaslight me. Blah, 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 blah. Eric, I don't like being an ENTP because people think I look like you. Huh. Well, maybe they're trying to flatter you or console you. I don't know. Okay. David kept no one. They're their own supervisor. They are not martial arts. That's not true. Would TI polar types be susceptible to being more gaslighted than other types? It depends how you're being gaslit. So, I could see what it would look like to gaslight somebody. I could imagine it. I could conceive of the process of gaslighting somebody, and it would involve a certain amount of FE, but it would involve mostly TE and TI in my approach if I were going to try to do that. What's hard to understand is how it's possible for people to persistently work narratively in ways that run afoul of your run afoul of your place of least resistance. So having a place of least resistance is that because if you're going to get fully gaslit in some extent, it's going to happen via that function. It's going to happen where you're getting critiqued on F grounds in some way, like I would, if you present me in the hypothetical, Eric says something is very important to him, and his partner tells him that the thing he says is important is not important, and that he's being ridiculous, and blah, blah, blah. A couple of years ago, I would have said, well, what does that mean? Well, it would depend on the specific situation and who's right and who's wrong about it. Maybe he is being ridiculous, or maybe he's not being ridiculous. Blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't have gotten the whole first part of that. Eric, you said that this thing is very important to you. I wouldn't have even thought about calculating that because I would have just assumed that wasn't relevant, right? That it wasn't relevant what was important. It was relevant, however, whether it was justifiably important. So it was relevant whether you could make the argument that it was important. Okay, was it really important that we stop here? Yes, because the car was on fire. Okay, that's important. Let's stop. My bad. I shouldn't have questioned you. That was important. That was an emergency. I need to pull over. It's really important we stop right now. Why? Because I really want ice cream. That is not important, okay? This is my first wife when she was pregnant and we were driving through the desert and she really wanted me to stop and get ice cream. And I kept trying to explain to her by TI that it wasn't, there's no reason, she had no reason to need to get ice cream right now. We had just stopped to get something not that long ago. And we needed to go where we're going. And she's being unreasonable and irrational. And she's not even attempting to justify her behavior and demands. And that's before I knew anything about it all about cognitive functions, and just assumed when I got married to that, it's an insanely bad choice of woman, but it worked out fine because she gave me my daughter and everything. But when I married her, I thought, okay, I gotta fix this woman. She is fucking completely broken, backwards, whatever. Probably an ISFP. She doesn't seem to understand that she's got to get rid of this whole her feelings thing. It's insane. I explained to her why she's wrong, and her answer is like, but it's not how I feel about it. I'm like, okay, well, I feel like we're polar bears. Your feelings, no cognitive functions in common with me. And it was like, okay, I need to just break this woman down to parts and start over again because she is built entirely fucking wrong. That's the only thing I could think about it at the time. It's just like there's something fucking deeply wrong with this woman. Of course, what does that actually mean? It just means I need to learn our cognitive functions and recognize the fact that we weren't meant to be together at all, even if she had been a good version of the type she was, and she was not. She was a very bad and damaged version of the type she was. So, it was a nightmare. What was I answering? Something. Okay doesn't mean you should bring them down. Okay doesn't mean you should bring them down. Let's see. Does someone have to be an INFP to understand them? It makes it sound like people can't say anything about any other type than their own. No, you can understand INFPs. There's nothing it's not impossible to understand them. The reason that they're my supervisor type is it's impossible for me to ever be steps ahead of them. And that's what makes them my supervisor type. I can understand them. I can understand why I can never be steps ahead of them intellectually. It doesn't give me the power to change that. It's just recognizing what, whatever the finish of that sentence is. I'm distracted by so many things in the chat. I'll have to move down a little bit here. Referring to claiming that INFPs are insecure about TE, I personally couldn't give a shit. I don't think people are insecure about their fourth function. They're insecure about their eighth function. They're not insecure about their fourth function. What they are is seeking in their fourth function. They're self-deprecating in their fourth function, but not insecure. So you're so shitty at SI stuff, Eric. Yeah, you're right. I am shitty at it. Oh, that's not insecure. That's don't give a fuck. That's sort of deep down believing in my soul that to have too much SI is necessarily take away from things that are vastly more important. But at the same time, I'm making friends with the function in the sense that I'm also recognizing how the things that are vastly more important are made a lot better when I have adequate amount of SI in the mix. So, that's kind of the relationship with the fourth slot. I'm getting a phone call. Let's see what it says. Hello? What? Okay, looking into Creighton or modafinil for support. Adderall isn't an option, but I love it. Oh, modafinil works pretty good if you want to get shit done. Kratom's not going to help you get shit done, really. I did Kratom just a couple days ago for the first time in ages. And I heard a couple people mention it in the ensuing days. When the ENTPs went in the wrong tend to try to debate why they haven't done anything wrong instead of simply apologizing and moving on when the apology is all that's required. That's not my experience with the ENTPs at all. I find ENTPs are among the quickest to apologize and move on. I mean, of course, maybe I'm hanging out with healthier ENTP. What I'm talking about, Becky is like that. I mean, not that I've had anything to check her on, really. You know, to say, hey, you shouldn't have done this, Virgo. Oh, I'm sorry, but they do defend the ground. You have to actually be right. That's the thing. And wait, in the wrong, tend to try to debate why they haven't done anything wrong. What do you mean by in the wrong? If they haven't done anything wrong, then they're not in the wrong, are they? Or unless you mean they're maintaining the wrong position statement. How would you differentiate between inferior TE and polar TE? Polar TE has no idea how shitty TE it is. It doesn't even get the concept of TE. The other day, Kim had a light bulb moment when she said, "You're right. I have no idea how long things are going to take." Kratom is fun, but be careful because you will have withdrawals that can suck if you're doing high doses. I took it every day for 2 years and felt like I was coming up opiates. Is that true? I mean, I don't know. I never do it. I took 2 tablespoons of the powder the other day, like the guy at the store told me, and it was, I don't know. It's kind of like feeling a little drunk, I guess. Maybe I didn't take enough. Didn't do much. I remember one time, the other time I took it, which I took it once before, or twice before, and I took a good amount of it, and it like put me right to sleep. No way anyone could be taking offense at what you're saying. We don't even know you, so why would we? You do not need to back up your claim. You do need to back up your claim. Officially, when those claims are discriminatory to that. Well, you know, he could be just, you know, being steamy in his language. I'm looking to use the kratom only twice a week to help me keep my house clean. You're trying to get energy out of it? I don't think it really produces a lot of energy. I mean, it may sort of quiet the mind a bit in a way that would be more conducive to working, but that's not my experience with it. What are you saying, MLG? It's not like you're saying anything. Explain demonic SE. I've always played sports and participated in physical activity, so how do I have SE 8th function? Who are you? I don't know if you have SE 8th function or not. I don't know if you're an ENTP or an ENFP. Who are you? Demonic SE? I mean, A slot SE? A slot SE is, you need to understand, MLG. I am not intentionally skipping things that are worth talking about, as that is. It's just, you know, there's a lot of shit to look at here, and I'm easily distracted. It's sub-instrumental. It serves my any, and then that serves more or less, or as an implicit check to make sure it's in the interest of my third slot FE. It results in things like I do plenty of physical stuff. I climb up a palm tree and do a lot of labor, and I used to play a lot of basketball, but it mostly manifests as shit like writing a book, which requires a lot of SE of a sort, and then not following through and sending it to any publisher, writing any query letters or anything like that, because that SE at that point is no longer serving my NE, it's serving my TE, so it fails me. Or serving my whatever, I don't know, FI or something. So it fails me. And that's my answer for you. Yeah, don't reach. Nobody should be reading shit into me, ignoring them unless they're just coming in full blast trolling for a long stretch of time. I'm not ignoring people. It's just either, I don't know, my eyes just sort of skip over things and I just grab onto something and I just go. The main alkaloid in kratom triggers the opioid receptors in the brain. So if you use it, you'll have withdrawals that mimic opioid withdrawals, but not as severe. Oh, well, I don't really like it. I never really liked downers at all. So that makes sense. A lot of people don't just want to vent about the problems. They don't want solutions. You probably have bad people skills if you can't tell when a person is seeking advice versus a listening ear. I mean, I don't think that's. I think there's often times when I could probably tell, but I'm not looking to make that distinction. So FI users work with TI users in a romantic relationship, I would say no. In other contexts, possibly. In general, FITE people and TI-FE people segregate. You know, most of the people around the raw room, the channel, people who come here, etc., almost all of them are going to be TI-FE. It's just a naturally occurring thing. There's some FI users who made a little Facebook group called like Fight the Power Against Susie over her admin shit, and it's ridiculous, you know. I think, but maybe that's girl stuff. I don't know. We could work together well on any given project, sure. And I found some of my more memorable, some of the more memorable moments of my emotional landscape of my life history were with FI doms, like specifically women, you know. But hello, hi, what's going on? I'm fine, just doing a little live streaming. Oh my God, I'm God asks, do you ever enjoy smoking some crack cocaine? Would you like to field that question? Do you ever enjoy smoking some crack cocaine? Yeah. No. The caller says no. I'm just relating to you a question from the live chat here as I'm live streaming. What would you like to talk about? Oh, okay. Well, you maybe you did, or you're trying to call somebody who works at the pizza shop who knows about TI, because that would explain it. You did get the wrong person. I'm not that guy. I'm this other guy. So I don't know which TI know where you're looking for, but if you're convinced it's the wrong one, then you'd know better than I would. I didn't make any claims about that either way. You said that you were confident you had found the wrong person, so I'm assuming you must have somebody else in mind, right? Oh, I see. So when I call people who've never spoken to me before, how should I expect them? What is their polite duty in terms of responding to me?
You know, the a priori of interactions from you, subject, to a stranger is don't be a douchebag. That's one. And two, don't be offensive.
Okay, so are you? I got a question. I got a question for you. Hold on there. Hold on there, cowboy. I got a question for you. Were you watching this live stream? Have you watched it? Have you ever seen any of my videos?
Yeah.
Okay, so what the fuck do you expect?
Well, I guess there's no expectations when.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You really should have pretty broad expectations, because I bring everything from fucking apple pie to zebra anal fucking, and I bring it with a smile.
Wow.
So what were you expecting? You expected me to kowtow to your expectations? expecting me to provide exactly the sort of level of professionalism you'd expect from a typology expert. Well, here, let me give you a professional recommendation. I'm going to write you a prescription where you can go to Anal Wreckage Anonymous and shove extremely large things up your ass and enjoy that. Okay? Have a nice day. Kaboom. Well, I mean, it may get in the way of truth, but it doesn't get in the way of good, clean fun. And that's what that was right there. Good, clean fun. Why? Because justice was served. And the attempted troll, which is what he was doing, really. Attempted to troll. Well, he earned the dividend on the stock into which he had invested. Can I just be every type? Yes, but you got to, it's a long form you got to fill out. It's like, you got to pass like every single MBTI test that anyone ever made for every type first. And then you got to get the special tattoos, which is on this cheek says every, on this cheek says type. Those are what's required. I'm actually pretty brave for putting your number online. Why? What are they going to do? Talk to me? That's fine. You know, I feel perfectly competent to win all verbal battles. So I don't worry about putting my number online. I wouldn't want to put my address anymore, although I used to. I didn't used to care. Oh, yeah, if you feel like, hey, here's my address. If you feel like stopping by my house, just go ahead and stop by. Back when I lived by myself, it was fine, you know. I didn't care. I just assumed everyone was going to be basically sane. But since I had an uninvited visitor to my house here, we're a little bit more careful with that information. We even have a P.O. box, so we have a mailing return address that we can put down. I would just feel getting creeped out getting calls like that. I see it all as a script that they're running, whatever it is. Like, you know, not that they actually have scripted out ahead of time, but they've got some sort of agenda. It could be positive or negative, you know, and it's just a matter of reading between the lines. That guy was trying to troll. I'm trying to troll by trying to be like all offended because I asked him the question from the chat. But the reality stands. If he's actually in any way, shape, or form a fan of these live streams, he knows that rarely does a live stream go by in which some joke about man seed or anal wreckage or, you know, shooting meth in your pee hole doesn't get made. It's par and parcel for the course. So that's why he had to have been trolling. trying to get me on the FE defensive. I assume those things. I just trust my instincts on those things. If I'm wrong, it'll always be wrong in my own favor. So I don't give a fuck. You know, I don't mind people coming and trying me out. You know, there's certain fastest gun in the West quality of things that people are they think you're positioning yourself as such, then they're gonna come after you. They're gonna try to test you out. Most won't be scrubs. Most won't be so scrubby they won't even realize they shouldn't. They're way out in the big waves where they do not belong. You know. There's a false premise in what you stated. It implies you're correct about the truth. Matt, so are you implying that people need to agree with you in order for you to feel like your truth is supported? Well, I mean, people should agree with you when you're right, or at least concede, right? But whether or not you're right, that's a separate question, and that's entirely a matter of the discourse that is between the two people arguing about that. The status of rightness or wrongness doesn't persist or exist outside of that particular exchange. I hate when I give someone my number and then they give the number to fucking every one of their friends. I don't think I have that problem. But they can if they want to. I don't care. I'm not inundated enough with calls to worry about it. And when I don't feel like answering the phone, I just don't answer the phone at all. Even if it's like the only people, if I see like dad, I'll answer it because it might be something wrong with mom or something. If it's Kimmy, I'll answer it. Otherwise, I just don't even look at the phone. I just don't even want to see. I just don't want to answer it. People are either right or wrong. If someone is wrong in an argument, they're wrong in their lives and as a human being. Well, John Lin Wang, that is extraordinarily reductive of you. You've really taken a complex reality and bifurcated the fuck out of it. I want to give you 5 bifurcation points for that. And he never ceases to be abused. It really doesn't cease to be abused. MLG, oh man, this chat is too civilized. I'm out of here. Oh no, please, MLG, no, not you. Please don't go. Oh, geez, guys, I think MLG is leaving. We might as well just stop talking and just break down and cry right now. Because what the hell are we going to do without the stunning insight and wisdom of MLG? There are no relative truths, just gradations of missing the mark. Well, that's interesting. Is this the same person who called me before? I don't think you get a second try, buddy. Yeah, I don't think so. Let me make sure. If it wasn't the same guy, then I think it was the same city. Yeah, you get 1 try, and you failed your try. So, too bad. I'm normally an infinite second chances kind of guy. But not with people trying to make critiques of the adequacy of my greeting them as a random person who's calling me out of the blue on the phone. Presumably to participate in the jolly good fun and playful banter that associates the typical Talking with Famous People live stream. Every type has a role to play. I agree. Anybody who bashes any type is just being ignorant. Yeah, every type does have a role to play. And the thing is, some of them are more easy for us to see than others. Like, it's easier for me to see how INFJs are useful than it is for me to see how ESFPs are necessary. Because ESFPs really, see, that's your real conflictor type. It's not what Sociana says you conflictor type is ISFP. That's not my real conflictor type. My real conflictor type is ESFP because ESFP and I are using the other deliberation function and have the other ones as polar, and it leads to a lot of headbutting and a lot of like, you are not even a mile from any sort of decent, reasonable, adequate understanding of anything. But it goes both directions, you know. It's like they think the same thing. They just can't express it as well. So we're going to win the exchanges verbally. Let's see. Do you want me to call your friend? You can if you want. Which of my friends do you want to call? Unsubstantiated, not wholly correct. To participate in this Dick Bear. You're still here. Doesn't matter that Mad Biscuit doesn't like INFPs though. I don't know. Probably doesn't matter much to INFPs. Other than that he's spreading false info, but it doesn't sound like anyone agrees with him, so who cares? I don't think he's really... What is he saying so bad about INFPs? Did he say something bad? Or he said that they don't get things accomplished or something. I feel like queasy all of a sudden. Make you cry. Okay. Make you cry? Make me cry? We've got a fucking dude complaining about type bashing and you acknowledged it. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty equal opportunity acknowledger. I'm stooping all the way down to read even your chat emoji. And that's not the case with that person. So I didn't have to stoop for that at all. Supernova, you're trying to use mob rules to substantiate I'm false, not whether what I'm saying is right or wrong. It matters. It wouldn't matter either way to me, Mad Biscuit. I don't think people have a very positive view of every type. I already told this guy, you get one chance. You've already lost your chance now. So there is no point in speaking to you, Supernova, concerning this issue. Well, I mean, there's this thing called Gangster Party Line. It's a group of black muscle-bound guys who operate it, and if you call it, they talk shit to you. It's designed for people to call and talk trash. What an odd notion. Do you pay for that? What matters is the percentage of functions present overall in society. America is SETEFE heavy. It's not necessarily SETEFE heavy. Those are the things that are externalized more. The things that actually have the most impact, both as interfaces and in an action function. So that's why it seems that way. INFP seem like sort of whipping boys of the MBTI. I don't know. Hard to say. It depends on who you ask, I guess. America's ESTP. America was founded by NTPs. Thomas Jefferson, at the forefront of it. He was an INTP probably. And was responsible for a lot of the ideational work in the country. We need to return to that principle in general. According to Eric on ISFP, but got to garage myself anything that, if that's what you're, oh, for goodness sakes. So yeah, I'll probably block him if he calls again. I think that we are the whipping boys of MBTI partially because emotion and passion are repressed, not valued. Well, they're not. They're by nature non-communicatively valuable. Like, they're valuable because of, FI is valuable for reasons that can't be fully explained and expressed and aren't very transferable. There's not a high degree of value conductivity on FI. But remember, we aren't a we. We're each of us an I. And so in that sense, it makes the most sense to focus on the value that's most central to the self rather than focusing on some other kind of value that is external just because you can justify it more and just because it has more visible impact or whatever doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that you should prioritize it, right? Okay, I'm going to wrap this up because I'm trying to feel kind of sick, like I'm too hungry. I can eat something and maybe drink some liquids or something like that. I need some SI treatment, and I'm starting to like not be able to keep my flow of thought and speech because I'm focusing on my SI, and it's like, I hate my SI when it's not good. You know, I like good SI. I like the Rai SI. Well, that's what I'm gonna go get right now and get some food and a Coke. I'll probably go to McDonald's, get a burger and a Coke, and then I'll feel a lot better. I need to eat. So, okay, thank you all for being here. And okay, yeah, okay. I thought for a second I had to work tonight. And I forgot about it, but no, I didn't. Okay, so thank you everybody for being here, and talk to you later. And don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.